Welcome, Morgan. How are you doing?
Pretty good, Chris. How are
Good,
you?
good. I'm well, thanks. Yeah, we get to meet virtually. I like your money signs in the back there. It's one of the reasons why we're talking here. Morgan, you're a financial advisor that I've gone to on several occasions. My go-to mortgage broker whenever I've got a new client that's looking, or we've got a complicated situation. So I love to pick your brain when we get into unique situations like what we're looking at right now.
Oh yeah,
Um, with a very quickly changing landscape on the financial side.
yeah.
And so one of the biggest things that I'm getting a lot of questions on my end, and I have some questions myself, is around this what the government has done to help out with mortgages, specifically this mortgage deferral.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, and what it means, the pros and the cons, and when you would use it versus not use it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's more of a bank program than a government program. The banks have agreed to look at this to help people that are in financial distress right now. The one thing to remember is that it's something that's discretionary for lenders, so they're not going to offer it to everybody. Just because someone might be tight on money, it doesn't mean they're going to approve you to do a deferral. And they're not forgiving the payment. A lot of people have the misconception that they're just going to say, yeah, don't worry about your payment this month. But what they're actually going to be doing is adding the interest to the end of the mortgage. So when you're up for renewal or whatever it is, the interest is still going to be there. And in some cases, they've added it to the mortgage, so you're paying interest on the interest, I guess is a way to explain it.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about that because a lot of people in the media have put this big spotlight on how terrible that is. It's really not. If you can't make your next mortgage payment, does it really matter if you're going to pay over the life of the mortgage, another $30 in interest? It really doesn't. I mean, it's here as a tool for people that are in true financial hardship because of what we're going through and no other reason. Um, if you don't fall into the category, they're not going to let you defer your mortgage, although there is lots of other things people can do. But for deferring the mortgage, you have to get on top of it right away. Have to call your lenders. Lenders are running 2, 3, 4, even 5 days of turnaround to even get back to you on this. I have a full list for all the lenders out there. If anyone needs to reach out, you can give them my details. I can give them the websites where they have to email or call. But again, I've already had many clients who are inquiring and they're waiting days before someone gets back to them. They're just that busy right now across the board at banks.
Yeah. So if there is anybody watching this, and we're going to put my email address right here and my phone number right here. And so if anybody does need to get this information, I'm happy to be the conduit and connect you through to either to Morgan or to the information that Morgan's talking about to get started on this process if you are one of these people in need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so in terms of any sort of next steps, I mean, you said that this is a bank initiative. Do you think that there's going to be a time where the government may need to step in and create some sort of regulation around how this is going to be treated um, on a more sort of standardized way?
Well, that's a good question. I think it will depend on how long we're in this situation for. I mean, some people who are laid off temporarily, if they can go back to work in 3 months, if they get the help they need for 3 months, the government probably won't need to step in. However, they already have because they have this new initiative to provide the emergency relief funds for I think it's up to 4 to 6 months. I forget exactly what I was reading. And there'll be more details from the government how to get that. It's separate from EI. It's actually going to be, I think, $2,000 a month to people that need it to help carry some of these costs. So as for the government stepping in, there's not much they could do other than one of two things: either make the mortgage payment for people, which I'm certain they're certainly not going to do, or um, you know, give banks some sort of incentive to do it differently. But I think deferring is a good option. And it's even available in some instances for people with rental properties, because if you have rental properties and you can prove that your tenants aren't working and they're not paying you, if you're in some sort of hardship, you can still apply for mortgage deferral as well. But
Mhm.
the one thing that's been stressed to me as a mortgage broker, and I talk to people all the time, lenders all the time, is that you have to be able to prove that you are in this hardship, and that's going to be the biggest difference. But there's not much more the government can do, I don't think, at this point, and time will tell. If this turns into a much longer thing than people think, then it's hard to say what they'll do from a financial stimulus point of view, right?
I got you. Yeah, that was good. It was actually going to be one of my questions. Is for those people that are have renters in place that can't make rent, and so that would be again on a case by case basis. You'd have to show that they're not working, they're not paying, and then
Yeah.
would you also have to show that you personally can't cover those payments as well, or would
Yes.
just
It's
yeah,
the same process. So it's really, you have to go through their process to demonstrate your inability to make payments. And whatever that entails, I don't know, because I think it'll be different lender to lender. Some might be more flexible than others. I'm not sure. But I do know they are granting it to people, but you do have to, because I've seen a few clients of mine already that have received temporary layoff letters from their employers. And that's the kind of information you're going to have. You're going to have to show that you're out of work until until your store opens or till whatever you do is reopened. And those are the things people have to understand, is that they're not going to be able to just make a call and miss a payment. It's going to be
yeah,
paperwork, certain steps, etc. And it's a new process for banks too, so they're learning as they go because it's something they introduced on the fly, and they're trying to keep Canadians in their homes and the minimal amount of stress, right?
got it, got it. Okay. Sorry, I realized that I didn't have our screens side by side. You were the highlight, so that's okay. We'll put you on the main screen. That's awesome. I think I guess we wrap up. Are there any other sort of questions that you're getting that I haven't asked here that you think would be relevant to the situation that we have?
Well, there are a lot of people ask me, are there any other options if I can't get my mortgage payment deferred, or if I don't want to get my mortgage payment deferred? Lenders. So some things to consider is maybe you're still getting some income, but it's not enough to cover the mortgage payment, or maybe if you pay your payment, you don't have enough for anything else. If someone's had, say, a 30-year amortization on their mortgage and they've been paying for 7 years, lenders do have the ability to re-amortize the mortgage, which is different than skipping a payment. What they would do is just go back to whatever the original payment would be at a 30-year mortgage versus what you're paying now.
Hmm.
That is an option too, as long as it was set up that way originally. Some lenders offer hold a payment, which is similar to deferral, but it's like a one-time thing. So just because a deferral isn't necessarily the thing for you, there are other things lenders will look at as well, right? So I don't think it's a one size fits all here. Um, there's emergency financing people can get if they needed a second mortgage for 30 grand to get costs for 6 months. There's lots of solutions that are separate from mortgage deferral. They just need to be able to talk to someone about it.
Yeah. Okay. I guess it's just personally too. I had a question for you, and is I think a lot of the banks right now are, like you said, they're dealing with 5, 6, 7 days of backlog of they're quite busy right now.
Yeah.
Um, as a mortgage broker, how busy are you right now? Have things slowed down for you in terms of writing up new mortgages, or
No, it's. I was on one of these Zoom calls yesterday with four of my buddies that are all mortgage brokers as well, and we're all seeing a very big uptick in new business, from refinancing because rates are down to purchases are still active. I mean, I know it's harder and harder for people to get into properties right now, but people are still buying. I mean, people still want to try to get homes if they can. We see a lot of refinances for various reasons. It's quite a lot of activity, and a lot of people are still getting lined up from qualifying for hopefully when things get back to some sense of normalcy so they can get out and start buying right away, right? So no, we are still seeing a lot of new business, but we're also getting we're reaching out to clients, making sure they understand what you and I just talked about: mortgage deferrals, are they okay, that sort of thing, right? We're getting a lot of calls about that.
well, okay. And I guess the last thing, just before I let you go, what's the lowest sort of rate that you're seeing out there right now? Where are we at?
Well, the Bank of Canada just announced this morning, I don't know if you saw that, they've dropped their overnight rate another 0.5%, which means the prime rates might go down for variable mortgages, but the banks have now gotten rid of discounts off of prime. So rates on 5-year fixed, they're going up. An insured mortgage still might get you about 2.54, meaning if you have less than 20% down.
Hmm.
If you have 20% down or more, they're still going to be in around 3% or a little bit under 3%, depending. So rates are still quite low. I mean, people, if you want to compare it to where they were 2 weeks ago when everything was going crazy, even at 3%, that's still a very good rate for a mortgage. I mean, people need to focus on that, right? And is it affordable and that sort of thing.
Right.
But there is a lot of scenarios for pricing a mortgage, and it's kind of that's what people need to focus on, right?
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm coming up on we're coming up on our renewal date, so we'll be talking about that shortly.
All right,
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for the time, Morgan.
all
And
right.
I'm glad that you're still staying busy and that the market's turning. So um, we're looking forward to getting out from behind our desks here a little bit and
That's right,
some actual interactions. We can play some golf.
right. Look forward to it.
All right. Cool.